So I'm here on the legendary Sound of Music Hill where Julie Andrews filmed the opening scene to The Sound of Music, and the Untersberg mountain is behind me. How magnificent is that? And that's actually what you can see through the birch trees when Julie Andrews is singing that section of The Sound of Music. But I've been speaking to the landowner, and he reckons that the famous twirl that Julie Andrews does was over there near the sheep hut. So we're just going to try and do that walk to the sheep hut and just see if we can sort of, you know, just sort of get an idea of how it would have been. Okay, so that's kind of the view apart from the farmhouse there. But yeah, these are the trees where the director Robert Wise and the choreographers Marc, Breaux and Peggy Wood, and I think Soul Chaplin, were camouflaged during that opening shot. Now these trees are interestingly not actually on the hill, they are planted at the edge of the hill. So we're going to go right to the edge of the hill and I will show you. There's a few dead leaves and things here, but yeah, so actually there's a bit of a drop, so that is where Robert Wise, the famous director, would have been, and you can see the Untersberg there, look. How amazing is that? Yeah, but it was around about here where Julie Andrews started walking. So we're going to do the walk that she did to the twirling point, the moment where the spin happened. I can actually hear. It's either a plane or a helicopter now. That's very fitting. Can you hear that? I don't know whether you can, but I can hear some aircraft or something. But yeah, this is where Julie Andrews would have started the walk. So Marc Breaux had a bullhorn, and they played because the song was recorded in Hollywood, so she didn't sing live here. So it was recorded in Hollywood months before they came here to the location, and there were giant speakers placed up in these very trees, and Marc Breaux, the choreographer, who was the guy who came up with the idea for the twirl, by the way, he had a bullhorn and he shouted, "Go Julie!" So when he saw the helicopter coming over the Untersberg, he shouted, "Go Julie!" and she started her walk from here. Okay, so this would have been Julie Andrews' view. Of course, she'd have had a helicopter flying in. I can hear something, can you? Can you hear like an aircraft? It'd be amazing if it was actually a helicopter that flew in, wouldn't it? Oh, please let that happen. But yeah, Paul Beeson was the cameraman who got that shot. You know, so we've got him to thank for that. Yeah, can you hear that? Where is it coming from? It's over these trees. Right, well, we'll ignore it for now. But yeah, this is where Julie Andrews would have started the walk. Okay. Oh, it is. It's a helicopter, look. Can you see that? Let me see if I can zoom in. Now that is magical, that is. Now any Sound of Music fan would be thrilled with that. Except it should be, if it was like 60 years ago, it would have been flying over the Untersberg, coming around here, hovering here. Julie Andrews would have walked from here to there and twirled. So that's amazing that we've actually just seen a helicopter on the Sound of Music Hill, because 60 years ago yesterday that happened. Because yesterday was the anniversary of the twirl. It happened on the 4th of June 1964, Today is the 5th of June 2024, so that's really fitting. Okay, so this is where Julie Andrews would have started her walk from. Lovely buttercups and dandelions and other wild plants. So let's just imagine that we've got the music playing, the helicopters flying in. Julie Andrews is walking all the way over here. That's the legendary view behind us, apart from the farmhouse. The farmhouse will be out of shot in a moment, so you won't be able to see that. Look at the Untersberg with the clouds coming in. So this is the walk that Julie Andrews would have had. Apart from this ski lift, by the way, that wasn't there, and neither was this shed. She had a long walk, didn't she? So over to this sheep shed. Okay, 1, 2, 3. She twirled from left to right, and oh my God, there's a lizard! There's a lizard there. Look, can you see? That's a lizard. Look. Hello, little fella. I thought it was a toy at first, but yeah, that's a real lizard. Hello. Or it might be something else, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not going to hurt you. You enjoy the sound of music, Hill. I hope there aren't any snakes about. Hello. Yeah, can I? Oh no, you've gone. Okay. But sorry to spoil the moment, but yeah. So she would have walked along here to this point here and twirled from left to right, and that is the view that was behind her. So the landowner might well be right. Okay, so the twirl probably happened around here where the sheep shed is. Okay, so when the Untersberg there. So how amazing is that? So yeah, so that is the legendary view from the opening scene of The Sound of Music. So she twirled, so she walked from those trees where I've just walked now along here, and this is where Hollywood history was made. Okay, so yeah, and then the moment when it's around about sort of here where she twirls, just about sort of there, because this so sort of in between this bit. Okay, and then the bit where she sings "The hills are alive," that's around here, around this spot, and then the place where she runs off the hill when she hears the bells of Nonnberg Abbey, which by the way are about half an hour away from this location, and in a different country, because the opening and the closing scenes were filmed in Germany. The rest of the film was done either in Hollywood or Austria, Salzburg of course, and Werfen. So yeah, this is pretty much the shot that we see when she runs off the hill. So she hears the bells of Nonnberg Abbey, and then of course she runs off in this direction. Then she forgets that she's left her wimple on the grass, and with much frustration she runs back to where I am stood right now, grabs it with such aggression and runs off in this direction, and then we see the opening titles and all the beautiful shots of Salzburg which take you to the nuns singing. So yeah, this is The Sound of Music Hill 60 years later. I don't know about the sound of music, I can hear the sound of grasshoppers. My, that's loud. Diane Sawyer came here 10 years ago exactly to film an ABC television special called The Untold Story of the Sound of Music. I mentioned this to the landowners, and they didn't remember Diane Sawyer coming here because they said so many people have been up onto this hill. We've lost count. Like filming and things, because by the way, this is private land. You cannot come here without permission. You need to get permission, so this location is not open to the public. You need to get permission to come here. That's what I've done. I remember Diane Sawyer saying this in The Untold Story of the Sound of Music. Look at that light on the Untersberg. So it was around here where the birch trees would have been, because the Untersberg was seen in the background, and it was also around here where the brook would have been, which was a horseshoe shape. The previous landowner Annie Stocker mentioned that. So yeah, it's a super special location, and it's just legendary, isn't it? You know, everybody knows that opening scene from The Sound of Music. It's the first thing that you think about, actually. When you think about The Sound of Music, that's the very first scene that everyone remembers, you know. I mentioned it to a friend in Glasgow not that long ago, and the first thing he did was to stand up, spin round and go, "The hills are alive with the sound of music," which happened right here where I am stood right now. How lucky am I? So yeah, not many Sound of Music fans get to come to this hill. And like I said, you cannot come here. It is private land. I got permission, and if you do want to come here, you need to get permission too. Okay. So yeah, the Sound of Music hill. So I'm walking in the steps now that Julie Andrews walked in when she ran off the hill with her wimple. And as I said, these are the trees where Robert Wise and the choreographers Marc, Breaux and Peggy Wood were camouflaged. So there we are, the Sound of Music hill, 60 years later. And what an absolute treat it is to be here. I can finally tick it off my bucket list.